Hey, it's Jeff with some big news. We've recently launched a new podcast. It's called Essential English Expressions. Season 1 is out now, and each episode is all about how to use one essential English expression. If you like plain English, you'll love our new podcast, Essential English Expressions. Click the link in the show notes for more information. There's a new material being used in tall buildings. You may have heard of it. It's wood. Hi there, everyone. It's Jeff. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Plain English, the fast version. Today's Labor Day for many of you, May 1st, 2025. And the story we have today on this Labor Day is about a new way to build tall buildings with timber. Wood, in other words. They're now able to build tall buildings with wood frames. It's pretty interesting. So that's today's story. It's on episode 771. So that means you can find all the learning resources that we have for you at plainenglish.com/771. Before we start today's story, I'd just like to remind you that the podcast is just one part of how we can help you upgrade your English skills. At plainenglish.com, you can make faster progress with active learning strategies. You can take quizzes, do activities, listen to the fast version of the audio, watch video workshops, practice what you learn, and even join a live call with JR and me. It's all about helping you build your skills to become a better, more confident English speaker. Sound good? Go to plainenglish.com to start your free 14-day trial today. Now, let's jump into today's story. Like many Americans, I grew up in a house made of wood. A wood frame house is cost-effective, quick to build, and adaptable for different designs. Most have a concrete foundation. The floors are made of wooden beams, called joists, and the frame is made from vertical 2x4 or 2x6 pieces of lumber. This is the standard for 1- and 2-story homes in the suburbs and small towns of North America. Wood used to be popular in big cities. Buildings and even sidewalks in some of America's biggest cities were made of wood. But then, several cities were hit with major fires. Philadelphia in 1850, Chicago in 1871, Boston in 1872, and San Francisco in 1906. Fire swept quickly through wood buildings, destroying major parts of those cities, and that put an end to wood construction in dense areas. Today, most buildings in cities and most commercial buildings are constructed of brick, concrete, or steel. Many large cities prohibit wood construction over about 3 stories, but recently, wood has been making a comeback. When I say wood, I don't mean the 2x4s that frame single-family homes, like the ones in my neighborhood growing up. I'm talking about something called mass timber. Mass timber refers to wooden panels and beams that can support tall buildings. Think back to the last time you saw a tall building under construction. You probably saw tall concrete columns or even steel beams. You may have seen concrete slabs form the floors on each story. In a timber building, all that is made with heavy, solid wood panels and beams. These are made by gluing layers of lumber together, either in the same direction or perpendicular to each other. Panels are several inches thick and can work just as well as a thick concrete slab. This new type of material allows architects to build much taller buildings with wood. Think 8, 10, or even 20 stories in the air. There are several benefits to timber construction. Ironically, the first is environmental. So yes, to build a timber building, you have to cut down trees, but trees are a renewable resource. In a well-managed forest, trees can be replanted and they grow back to full size in about a decade. And producing timber requires much less pollution compared to producing concrete or steel. The timber also acts as a carbon sink. That means it captures and stores carbon, reducing greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So that's one benefit. Another is efficiency. Many of the components that go into a mass timber building are produced off-site in a factory. They're then transported and assembled at the construction site. That's more efficient than pouring concrete on-site. It's also easier to control quality when more parts are made in a central location. There are fewer days lost to bad weather and fewer workers required on site. Timber is lighter than steel or concrete, and cranes can more easily lift the pieces into place. Those are the practical benefits, but there are softer ones too. People like being in buildings and places that resemble nature. Exposed wood interiors create a warm, natural ambiance. A space feels cozy and alive when there's exposed wood. Studies have shown that being surrounded by wood can lower stress, reduce blood pressure, and improve comfort for occupants. Still, you might be wondering, wood? Really? If that's what you're thinking, you're not alone. There are drawbacks. Wood is organic, so it's susceptible to decay, moisture, and pests. The timber structure has to be protected from water. That means treating the wood with water-resistant seals or coatings. Many timber building exteriors are wrapped in membranes or covered in sidings like brick to protect the wood from the elements. What about fire? The original reason wood buildings were limited in big cities? The new timber structures are more fire resistant than before. In a fire, the structural elements char on the outside, which creates an insulating layer that prevents the rapid spread of a fire. Tests show that timber framing can stay structurally sound for several hours during a fire. Cities are updating their fire codes to allow for taller timber buildings. They require sprinklers, fireproof coatings, and limits on how much timber can be exposed to the interior. So where has this been done? Mass timber construction is more popular in Europe than it is in North America. In Sweden, it's easy to produce mass timber buildings because 70% of the country's land area is covered in forest, and they're not running out of trees. Since 1903, the country has required reforestation, so there's more tree cover now than there was a century ago. Stockholm Wood City is a plan to build 250,000 square meters of timber-built commercial and residential space across 25 city blocks in Sweden's capital. That will include 2,000 homes, space for 7,000 office workers, plus shops and restaurants, essentially a whole neighborhood made of wood. Groundbreaking is expected this year, 2025, with a target completion date in 2027. There are not many tall buildings in Brumunddal, Norway, but there is one. Myrstjarnet is an 18-story tower completed in 2019. At the time, it was the tallest wood construction building in the world, and it proved that new engineered timber is strong enough to support a tall tower. It's home to the aptly named Wood Hotel. The city of Skellefteå, Sweden, has a 20-story timber building. It's a complex with theaters, an art gallery, and a library. Confusingly, it also has a hotel called the Wood Hotel, but it's not the same as the one in Norway. The town also has schools, bridges, and even parking garages made of wood. Austria is home to a 24-story wood tower that opened in 2017. North America has been slower to adopt modern timber construction, but Milwaukee, Wisconsin boasts the world's largest timber building. That is the Wood Hotel. No, I'm just kidding. It's called the Ascent Tower, a 25-story apartment building. An 18-story student residence hall was built in Vancouver, Canada. In Australia, a 40-story hybrid skyscraper is expected to be completed this year. It's a hybrid because the exterior will be steel and glass, but the internal structures, like the floors, will be timber. That is expected to open in 2025 and will be home to the software company Atlassian. I must admit I love old industrial interiors. I love buildings that have exposed timber beams in the ceilings. Chicago has a lot of old brick and timber buildings that have been turned into apartments, offices, and stores. They're so interesting to look at and to be in. You know those studies that say people feel good, feel less stress when they're surrounded by natural-looking materials? I believe them. I'd love to live in a building with exposed timber on the inside. But a whole building made of wood? I wasn't sure what to think. At first, I pictured a log cabin on the inside, but it really doesn't look like that. Some of the designs do have exposed wood, but a lot of the buildings have huge windows, and in many buildings, the wood is covered up. You don't even see it on the outside or the inside, so you might not even know you're in a wood building. Well, that's it for us here on Thursday, May 1st, 2025. Happy Labor Day if Labor Day is observed in your country today, as it is in many places. Europe, Latin America, parts of Asia, I think. So if you have today off or maybe tomorrow off, enjoy it, take a rest. You deserve it. This was episode number 771 of Plain English, so if you would like to labor a little more in English, you can do that at plainenglish.com/771. It doesn't really feel like work. You guys know that. Take the quiz, record yourself reading in English, do the listening challenge. There's lots of fun stuff for you, as there is with every episode. plainenglish.com/771. We'll be back with a new topic on Monday. See you then. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you like listening to stories in plain English, then you'll love learning English expressions with us. We have a brand new podcast called Essential English Expressions, and this one is seasonal. So we'll drop an entire season of expressions all at once. The first season is already available, ready for you to start listening. That's 14 special plain English episodes all together in a brand new podcast. Just search Essential English Expressions in your podcast player or click the link in the show notes.